We're going to finish off the process that we started yesterday. And if you remember, one of the things we did was we used the square root property to solve an equation. So we looked at having something squared being equal to a number, and then we took the square root of both sides, and we don't forget the plus or minus. Should be a bar over top of that. And then we solved for x. So that was part of your pre-homework yesterday, so that x was 4 minus the square root of 5, and x was 4 plus the square root of 5. Unfortunately, most quadratics don't come in that squared form, so what we have to do is to put it into that form, and that's what completing the square is all about. So the method that we finish off today is solve by completing the square, and there are a series of steps to do so. So that means that anytime there's a series of steps, I have a template that goes with it. So it says, the first step is always, be sure the coefficient of the highest power is 1. If not, divide each term by that value to create a leading coefficient of 1. This guy does have a leading coefficient of 1, so you don't have to do anything. Move the constant term to the right-hand side. So you kick the number to the other side. Then prepare to add the needed value to create a perfect trinomial square. Now, if you remember, the way we do that is we take the coefficient of x, divide it by 2, and square it. So if I take 8 divided by 2 squared, this is 4 squared, or 16. So to essentially do what we did yesterday, which was to turn this into a perfect trinomial square, I would add 16. But this is an equation, so whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I add 16 to both sides. The left-hand side is now the perfect trinomial square. That's what we did yesterday. The right-hand side you combine because they're just numbers. And now you have that perfect trinomial square is equal to a number. And now you solve using the square root property. So that means that I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus, so that x plus 4 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 20, or that x equals, subtract 4 from both sides, minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 20. Now, 20 can be broken down, because that was in your pre-homework, and 20 is 4 times 5, so it's minus 4 plus or minus 2 square roots of 5. So I have 2 answers, and that's what they are. Now that thing would have never factored, so that would be a reason why you would complete the square on it. This didn't factor. Now you could complete the square on it even if it did factor, but this works for everything.
On number 3, where you left the boxes empty, what's supposed to go in there?
What's going to go in here is 16 and 16.